Okay, so earlier, next game time. Earlier we mentioned Seigan Hawks, I think that was his name, who made the Escape Jurassic Hall. He recently published a video about cursed CD-ROMs, like unfiction games that are like in-universe cursed CD-ROMs. And he talked about two games that I've been wanting to play, so we're gonna play the other one now. I didn't watch the video since I saw, so I thought let's play this game so I can watch the video. First, I mean, the other one I can't play today because it's for Forbidden Solitaire. Forbidden Solitaire will be a different stream another time. But now we're gonna play Frontiers of the Mind! Now this is awesome. Oh fuck, I need to use window capture for this. Look, it has the fucking learning letters with Miko thing. Oh. Capture cursor, there we go. Fear of the Mind. -1 interactive. Frontiers of the Mind. A study on the Maze Master's experiments. Play CD-ROM. Now this one is very intriguing to me because this feels like time accurate to like how a interactive CD-ROM back then could have looked like. Like, look at this graphic design. Frontiers of the Mind. About players, characters, rooms, entities, objects, experiments, more. Let's read about first. Can I make this a bit bigger? Yeah, there we go. Let me crop it. Between 1987 and 1994, the British channel Network 7 broadcasted 112 episodes of the TV game show Maze Masters, an interactive adventure targeting younger audiences. What happened? Did I win? Yeah, I won. That was a good game. Let me lower the volume of this a little bit because I think this involves a lot of reading. So I don't actually know if the Maze Masters is something made up for this lore, or if that was a real show, so... Produced by Third Eye Pictures Studios, during 8 seasons, Maze Masters was an adventure role-playing game staging groups of teenagers trapped inside a castle. It's probably a take on Nightfall. Yes! I knew a show like this existed, like similar screenshots and angles, where it's like a TV show interactive game thing. But yeah, I think Maze Masters is the show in universe. Bertram, the dungeon master, selected the adventurer who would put on a helmet which partially blinded them. In theory, this contestant could only see their own feet and nothing of the world around. That show kicks ass, by the way. I think I've seen clips. Their 3 companions helped them from afar. Only those companions could see the rooms and the trials. Every episode followed the same pattern, although the riddles and settings would change. Only some parts of the show were aired. The different sections of the CD-ROM explore the format and the backstage of the show. That's awesome. The idea is to shed a new light on the strange events which have been revealed afterwards. The names and last names of all the persons involved were changed and their faces digitally transformed. The faces were removed, yes. 5 years after the end of the show, the truth about the mysteries surrounding Third Eye Pictures' activities has not yet been verified with certainty. Therefore, we wish to protect the anonymity of the persons involved. Alright, let's go in order. So players next. Casting, the Dungeon Master, controversies, the Bristol Kids. The children chosen to take part in the show were selected according to a particular process. First, they had to send a cover letter to the production and to give a certain number of details, such as their school reports, their hobbies, and the sports they practiced, along with all their food intolerances or medical treatments. When their applications were accepted via standard letter, the kids were invited to go to the closed audition. I fucking love this, by the way. I love how this is presented like those old interactive CDs. Once there, they were introduced to the show writers and to the members of the shooting crew. I wonder how these pictures were made, because I don't think they're AI. I wonder if they actually acted these scenes themselves, or if these are taken from something, like the show, The Nightfall. Then the casting directors would have them pass a test called Intuition Test, which, according to the witnesses, was probably a sort of disguised Ganzfeld protocol. The Ganzfeld experiment, what the hell is that? The kids had to take a telepathy test involving cards covered with specific symbols, and during which they had to guess the Zener card chosen by their companion. Psi testing. The children always described this experience as a funny session, and apparently they never realized they were taking a cognitive test. Oops. It skips one automatically. There's like a picture there, but hang on, let me try to screen cap that. Let me put it in Paint. This is the one page that skips on its own. So there's like things here, cognitive something, and the text is marbled. Oh, mangled. In all likelihood, the kids' roles during the show were determined by the result of those tests. Allegedly, the child with the lowest results was assigned to wear the helmet during the episode. Therefore, the choice made by the Dungeon Master was not arbitrary, it had been planned long before. Oh! There's another one that it skips, let me put that on Paint. Let me first read this. From Wikipedia, a Ganzfeld experiment, from German word entire and field, is an assessment used by paraphysiologists that they condemned can test for extrasensory perception and telepathy. In these experiments, a sender attempts to mentally transmit an image to a receiver who is in a state of sensory deprivation. The receiver is normally asked to choose between a limited number of options for what the transmission was supposed to be, and parapsychologists who propose that such telepathy is possible argue that rates of success above the expectations from randomness are evidence of ASP. The kid without the psychic powers had to go blind. Okay, look at this. Here's the lost page again. A few days later, the kids would receive a phone call telling them if they were selected or not. The Dungeon Master. Bertram was a main figure in the adventure. He was both a companion and a potential threat. These have to be pictures of the actual show. Like the real life show. His objective was to help the players when they needed assistance and to make their journey harder if they sailed through the challenges. He knew by heart all the rules of the game, and he had access to the solutions of all the riddles of the castle. As the dungeon master, Bertram controlled the game's rhythm. In case of conflict, he was the only judge entitled to decide. However, several members of the studio asserted that he was wearing an earpiece during the shootings. Bertram is an iconic character of the show, and he left his mark on a whole generation of young viewers. Although the investigation revealed that he knew nothing about Third Eye Pictures' doings, Bertram got himself noticed for other reasons. Several letters of complaints were sent to Network 7's headquarters reporting the fainting fits, migraines and headaches affecting some children. Those incidents mostly happened when the actor would perform the Bertram stare during the final shot of the episodes. The Bertram stare! This stare was described by young viewers as hypnotic and terrifying. Several adults reported having similar reactions while watching those sequences. The Dungeon Master is the only character who was never replaced during the 8 seasons of the show. The Bertram stare! I'm getting some headache right now just looking at these pictures. Look at those eyes. Ooh! Scary cursed CD-ROM! Let me take a quick drink. During the game, the children seemed delighted, and it positively affected the show. The audience ratings were among the best of the channel, and the show even won several prizes, thanks notably to the wonderful work of the writers' crew and of the artist in charge of the show's artistic direction. As for the different experimental protocols, they were always so subtle and so well designed that there never was any suspicion, and they never disturbed the kids in the short and medium term. What do you mean by that? At the end of each adventure, the kids would receive a certificate on which was written a text supposed to cleanse the different paraphysic suggestions to which they had been exposed to. Although we do not know the exact number of accidents which occurred, 2 of them have been certified. The first one involves prototype number 2. This version of the helmet made it possible to show the adventurer's mental health in real time. What? Thanks to captors connected to the pulse and to the back of the kid's eye, the software was supposed to display a face which would change color according to the stress level of the player. During one episode, the face suddenly turned into something gruesome, the skin peeling off on its own until there was nothing left but a sinister skull. The back of the kid's eye? Yeah! I actually, noticed that too. The back of the kid's eye, behind the eyeball or on the side of the head. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have seen this skull HP bar. This is footage from the real show, because I remember this seeing a YouTube video where the skull with the skin peeling off is the HP bar. So they're using the original show as a fake show and coming up with all this lore to it. The kid wearing the helmet started to cry uncontrollably, and the episode had to be stopped in order to remove the device from the helmet. Nice pick. The second incident is even more striking, and apparently it was not related to the helmet itself since no particular device had been integrated during this episode. In the course of a discussion with the jester, the player suddenly had an important nosebleed beneath the helmet. The so-called nosebleed episode turned out to be the starting point of the problems related to the jester. See the jester incident. What? Why is this so cool? Okay, the Bristol kids. The cases of the Bristol kids date back to the pilot episode, which was supposed to convince potential broadcasters to buy the show. The contestants were around 14 years old at the time of the shooting, in 1968, and they must be around 30 today. We ignore the protocols the players were exposed to, and it took several years for the disturbing points to be revealed. The 4 young winners pursued brilliant studies right after the show, although they initially had low to middle grades at school. Their brains were altered! They all developed particular skills in biology and maths, so much that they skipped several years and joined special curriculums. The most disturbing element is that those young people did not know each other before the show, and they did not keep in touch in any particular way after the shooting. Eventually, in 1996, the 4 former contestants were invited all together, and by chance, to the prize-giving ceremony of a mathematics award, and that is where they connected the dots. Proving the connection with the show would ultimately involve some speculations, but their participation to Maze Master's pilot episode is the only common point between those 4 gifted persons. No similar events has been reported with other contestants. I like the fucking cock grab in this pic. Alright, so characters. Allies, enemies, cast turnover, the jester incident. During their adventure, the groups would meet several allies willing to help them. In addition to the Dungeon Master, they could rely on the assistance of Maldor the Chamberlain. He could be prankish and slightly terrifying, but he never refused to help the adventurers. Easily identifiable with his red gown and his crown of white hair, his help often appeared as clues related to the forthcoming riddles. The contestants could also walk into Selma the Shepherdess, a young woman lost in the castle too. She never clearly explained how she arrived there, but she would give the contestants advice and directions. The help of Cora the Sentinel could be determinant. This mercenary from the marshes surrounding the castle knew all the weaknesses of all the entities abounding this castle. Other character would appear occasionally. Gehern the Apothecary, mischievous and willy. Elena the Crimson Princess, the only bearer of the crystal rings. The character list is still long. Melvedes the Groom, Keeper of the Dragon's Eyes, King Khan's servant, Bagat the Innkeeper, well versed in the gossips going around the castle, Oswald, King Khan's counselor, compulsive gambler but faithful advisor, Salkas, the shapeshifter elf, we do not know any of his other forms. Mirdhin the wizard, descendant of the first druid, he was the only character who could bring a contestant back to life. That's so foreboding saying it like that, like did they actually die? Enemies. Unfortunately, in the Maze Masters, the enemies outnumbered the allies. In this section, only the human-shaped antagonists are listed and no other kind of creatures, see entities. Lord Fear was one of the most striking ones. As the final enemy, the adventurers would fight in the throne room at the end of every journey. He ruled over several sadistic henchmen, blindly serving his dark ambition. Lord Fear, that name goes hard. Aside from the Dark Lord, there was Queen Nargal, who could control the main entities of the castle. His faithful servant and counselor was the jester himself. As from season 9, new enemies would appear in the show. No enemies would appear in the show. From season 4 onward, no enemies would appear in the show. There's a scary face. Holy shit, did you see that? Wait, I wanna go back in there. I wanna see that again. That's cool. Cast turnover. Although the incidents related to the cast of the show remain quite minor, they are no less noteworthy considering the evolutions discovered later. It appeared that some actors got so lost in their roles that they were unable to break character. The actress playing Liliana was found asleep on an unsaddled horse somewhere in London suburbs. And the performer playing Watan the Wizard set his garage on fire while trying to find the Philosopher's Stone. They got turned into the characters! Yet, the cast turnover certainly remains the most curious element. Except for a few rare exceptions, most of the actors refused to keep their roles after their first shooting. Many reasons were mentioned, but the most common one was related to issues with the catering on the set, and in particular with the presence of something in the meat. Oh. Alright, Jester incident. Oh. This presentation is so cool. Where's the entity section? It was in the previous page, that's next up. This is like something straight out of an actual old CD-ROM. I love this. I'm scared of the final picture. Well, this doesn't really give us any info. Maybe there's a secret code we can enter. Let's keep an eye out for some, like, digits. Alright. Rooms and then entities. Let's do rooms first, because we're going in order. Safe rooms. Enigma rooms. Although there were many dangerous rooms in Maze Masters, the adventurers could take a break in some of them. The first ones were called Enigma rooms, and they were of all sorts. Math, riddles, brain teasers, rebus puzzle or anagrams. In those rooms, the 3 assistant players could be particularly useful. Sog! Oh guys, does his iconic arm thrust. What is happening? Hello. This game is Frontiers of the Mind, and it's an unfiction game about a TV show that went wrong. And it's presented like an old CD-ROM, and it's very authentic. Bertram would only give clues if the team manifested signs of weakness. Encounter rooms. Encounter rooms were rooms where bearer of the helmet would meet a character or a peaceful... Sorry, something in my glasses. Character or a peaceful creature. Emperor Palpatine. On a very few occasions, an Enigma room could serve as an encounter room. There's the Jester. Empty rooms were statistically very rare, but they could still be found from time to time. They could be mistaken for the rooms inhabited by wall monsters. Although they could offer a short break, they were neglected by the adventurers who never stayed there for long. liminal. Some said that they felt uncomfortable in these rooms, while others would explicitly speak of the fear they inspired them. But the most common emotion mentioned by the contestants is that of a feeling of unbearable melancholia. Despite their very young age, the contestants said that they experienced the emotions of an old person on the verge of death. Some of them would feel regrets and remorse related to notions they could not explain. Production eventually stopped using the empty rooms due to the players' negative feedback. However, some of those rooms never ceased to appear in spite of this decision, triggering a wave of panic and confusion among the production crews. That's so cool. They would still appear. It's like the game, they weren't in control of the game. Healing rooms were rather rare but appreciated when they appeared. They gave the adventurer a few precious health points, and without them, some teams would have probably failed. In addition to the rooms, some items from the choice trial would also provide some health points. Sorry kids, gotta experience death to get through the maze. During the last scene of the adventure, the players could also receive some bonus points according to the number of health points remaining at the end of the journey. Okay, lethal rooms. Bomb rooms. Some rooms contain huge bombs set up by Lord Fear's henchmen. I have seen this! I have seen a clip on YouTube of a bomb room from this show and how the kids handle it. I recognize this giant bomb just floating there. If a player stepped into one of those rooms, their friend had only 30 seconds to guide the player towards the closest exit. That's the skull. It was a timer in the original show. If they could not do it within the allotted time, the bomb exploded and the game was lost. Nice pick. Oh. Trap rooms. Apart from the bomb rooms, the players could also walk into what was called a trap room. Back rooms. These were different types of them, and just like the bomb rooms, the player had to follow their friend's indication in order to escape the threats. Circular saws, blades tied to pendulums, huge gaps in the ground. There was a great number of threats. What if there was a crap room? If they failed, the players would lose points. If the number of HP reached 0, the game was over. There's the skull again. Against all odds, no incident was reported in the rooms during the show. Heat detection on the bottomless pits was infamously awful. That's awesome. Night rooms. The night rooms rarely appeared, but they made an impact when they did. The bearer of the helmet had to find a way to cunningly escape the wrath of the enemies. Galahad appeared in one of those rooms. So far, the production crews have asserted that they still ignore how the statue displayed in the headquarters hall had appeared, or what kind of mechanism brought it to life. Even if the contestants' injuries were harmless, this event is one of the reasons behind the show's cancellation. Ooh. Random rooms. Random rooms are the least documented rooms since none of them was aired on TV. They looked more or less like normal rooms, and the only feature that would set them apart was the apparition of specific enemies in those rooms. The only random room which could be recorded off-air was the one containing the pit brain, as it was called by those who mentioned it. Nonetheless, They were unable to describe their interactions with this entity. What the fuck? That's so cool! The pit brain. Let me take a quick drink. This is starting to feel like it was like real. Like it wasn't fake, it was real, and they were not in control of the maze that formed itself. Color rooms. Green rooms. The gameplay of the green rooms was particularly distinctive. When a contestant stepped into one of them, they had to roll a dice, and the dice itself would then appear in the room. RGB. When a contestant stepped into one of them, they had to roll a dice. Oh, I read that already. Huge! Once the die rolled, it turned into a kind of portal emerging into the room. It was actually a gate which would take the player to another part of the castle, and the exact location was decided by the dice's result. Kill dice! This mechanism appeared in several episodes. During one episode in season 3, the portal apparently opened a gateway to a dark and terrifying dimension. This place was systematically called the Dark Place by all the contestants who came back from it. This incident happened twice during season 6 and 8. Oh, season 6 and 7. The feelings described by the contestants expressed a sudden and frightening existential angst, which would follow them until the last scene of the adventure. The contestant who went to the farthest point in the heart of this dimension found what would seem to be a watchtower. He mentioned a dreadful presence overlooking from the tower, but he remained unable to define it. Red rooms. Red rum. The red rooms were located in a zone called the stomach, a kind of organic mental hell designed to try the contestants' nerves. Oh. Organic caves time. So this whole TV show was Mario 64 negative energy painting aura. God damn it, why is it always Flash? I like the music choice here. The issues with the meat started right after the first apparition of this setting, and in all likelihood, those two elements were connected. I'm so sorry. After a few airings of this setting, the production definitely removed it, since they had received many complaints from families who deemed it too gory for such young audiences. Awesome. Alright, yellow rooms, the piss rooms. Oh! I love this picture. There's like an entity. I was able to click back though. Blue rooms. Up to now, the blue rooms have remained mysterious. Created by Jay as some sort of mental trial, which could only be crossed with a substantial mental health, the blue rooms would trigger particular visions related to a dizzying dimension reminiscent of brutalism. Every contestant, even remotely fragile, could only stay here for a very few moments, and they all mentioned a heavy feeling of sadness. The corridor leading to this dimension is in itself a challenge to cross. Notably, there were cruel imps and a horrible giant with distorted face. Garbongo. If the contestant managed to avoid them, they could step into the zone. Several images have been recorded, but their content makes every attempt to analyze them useless. Jay's pages on his matter seem to have disappeared from his research notebooks. There's like eyes. You enjoy how if you read stuff just in order in this game, it gets progressively stranger. I love this. That's like a sad head. Okay, I gotta point something out real quick. I love this. I don't know what to call it. I love this like rules-based horror. And I know I once watched a video where someone named it like that. And I don't really know how to describe it, but like, it's like this modern specific type of horror where there's like rules set in place, and this like people trying to investigate more of it. And this game feels like someone was like doing research on these strange rooms. It kind of has the like backrooms effect. I don't know how to describe it, but I enjoy this sort of horror immensely. Also, yeah, who is Jay? Is that the jester? Okay, secret rooms. Dark rooms. Cursed CD! Meat rooms. This section addresses one of the strangest mysteries surrounding the show. Right after the first jester left, a certain number of events happened, all meat-related. Apart from the panic concerning the catering, several rooms in the castle were found packed with pieces of rotten meat, taking the place of the props that were supposed to be there. Even if the crew in charge of the scenery denied everything, the events blew out of proportions in increasingly troubling ways. The production even had to install security cameras on the set in order to try to identify the culprits, but it remained useless. It would seem that the meat appeared on its own. That looks like a curled up dead person. Apparently the radical decision from Season 6, introducing three-dimensional sceneries, put an end to those manifestations. Aura rooms. The different documents found after Jay went missing prove that he was particularly interested in aura phenomena and the Kirlian effect. Obsessed with all the alternative ways that would allow him to corroborate his theories, Jay was convinced that auras could confirm the efficiency of his protocols. In one of the rooms of the castle, there were special cameras which could capture and show auras on screen. Quite unexpectedly, only the aura of the room itself appeared, but no human presence was recorded by the captor. What? However, the room seemed to glow with different colors according to the number of health points of the contestants. Since the results were non-satisfying enough, the process was quickly dismissed. I also like these horrors where you're like, these horror games where you're like an outsider investigating something that happened. You're not like actively trying to avoid a horror, you're investigating something. And that's why I'm so excited for a couple of those new like desktop explorer horror games that got like announced or like shown off at quote-unquote E3 this summer. I have them wishlisted and some of them released by October, so I'll be there to stream them day one. Well rooms. The well rooms would appear at random. If a well had actually been built especially for the needs of the show, the original prop painted by an artist disappeared from the studio. After this theft, wells started to emerge from the ground in random scenes. Just like the meat apparitions, this issue was stopped by the shift to digital sceneries. Shift to digital sceneries. Oh, so implication is that they had real sceneries too, like before. The most striking well was the one leading to the purple dimension. See keys. Okay. Well, that's all the rooms. Now it's time for entities! Wall monsters, creatures, and anomalies. Wall monsters were a special feature of the show, and we find very similar examples in other bestiaries of legendary creatures. It is difficult to say if they were allies or enemies, since their behavior was always unpredictable. They would randomly appear in empty rooms, and nothing in particular seemed to announce their arrival. If the wall monster made sure to terrify the assistant players, they were only a voice for the bearer of the helmet. Somehow, they represented the spirit of the castle. They knew its history and they had watched the adventures of all the players. When we try to decipher their particular way to communicate, we find in their words a sort of ancient wisdom. Their size and colors revealed how dangerous they could become. However, the production crews asserted they were not to blame for the apparitions of a face in the altar room during the season 4 finale. Scary. Creatures. Whoa, there's a lot of creatures. Let's go through them one by one then. Oh, we can't. Oh, what a shame. But we can have a look at the pictures. I like this one. Anomalies. Yo, these are some cool fucking images. Whoa. Whoa. Too bad about the creatures, but I can understand why. Alright, let's keep going. Objects! Mario's food. The contestants choosing for food. Wait, the contestants choosing food during the choice trial express their need for energy and motivation. The players seem to develop different physical or cognitive capacities according to the products they would choose. The only incident happened in episode 7, season 3, when a roasted chicken was offered to the contestant during the choice trial. The player started to weep with joy, hit by a fit of neurotic euphoria in front of the chicken, and the sequence had to be interrupted. It was the first and last time that cooked food was offered during the show. I love the chicken! The contestants favoring fruits and vegetables during the choice trial manifested a need for vitality and energy or an overwhelming thirst for life. Apparently, vegetables were a more psychological sort of food, whereas the fruit seemingly affected the players on physiological plan. Each contestant who would choose the gold bar seemed to be searching for eternity and inner wealth. This longing for accomplishment was almost pathological, and it often appeared through hasty and inconsiderate decisions and through overconfident reactions. And yet, the contestants who would choose gold usually led their team to victory. Cool. Key. The contestants who would choose the key expressed a longing for freedom and knowledge, a need to unlock a zone in their own mind, or to express their determination to resolve a complex inner conflict. Apparently, a specific protocol was implemented to the bearers of the helmet who would choose the key. Many among them would access the Land of Dream. The process generally followed these steps. When a contestant chose the key, it triggered the apparition of a special well in one of the nearby rooms. If the contestant decided to step into it, they could access this purple dimension, as Jay would sometimes call it in his notes. In all likelihood, one of those extra-dimensional translocations gave the greatest number of results. The dimension was finally detected thanks to the technology integrated to the helmet number 4. The images show a dormant feature of pink/purple color, but we ignore if this dimension really adopted those colors or if it was an effect produced by the recording process. It's like they couldn't follow they weren't in charge. They put these kids into a real mystery environment thing. After the descent into the well, the contestant would reach a forest. Several explorers of the purple dimension mentioned the apparition of doors which seemed to lead into darkness. If they stepped through one of those doors, the contestant would be brought back to the initial forest. Huge breathing meatballs would then appear. Network 7 Studios apparently caught fire right when Jay tried to make a more thorough map of the zone. The only human figure who could be found there was sort of a mute ferryman who never reacted to the contestants' solicitations. This is kind of like backrooms, like exploring the backrooms too. Pie. The kids who would choose the pie expressed the need to share, or on the contrary, a yearning for acknowledgement. The pies were presented a few times to the contestants, and those who would choose them seemed to be more likely to find themselves in the yellow room. The pies in the show were prepared in a nearby bakery, which has never accepted or revealed the recipe, a family heritage from generation to generation. Oh, looks delicious, that pie. Stone. Several precious stones were offered to the contestants. Those who would take them during the choice trial expressed through this decision a need for anchoring or for personal stability. Sweeney Todd Pies Inc. Several stones of colors were submitted during the trials, and apparently red ones were the stones that would trigger the greatest number of negative reactions among the contestants. Glove. Each contestant who would choose the glove sought a feeling of protection and safety, but also expressed the need for limits. Choosing the glove could be useful to solve the struggles the team could meet, or it could reveal a much more personal need from the bearer of the helmet. The fabric the gloves were made of affected the statistical frequencies of that choice. The contestants seem to prefer the real leather gloves, and they never choose the gloves made of synthetic fiber. Skull. Flask. Great number of distinctive flasks were presented to the contestants. They were labeled with tags supposed to give information about their content. Homer! It was proven later that those flasks were filled with sand, oil, or bicarbonate of soda. Each contestant who would choose the flask expressed a yearning for fierce motivation or for luck. The contestants seemed more unlikely to take interest in the flasks with the more grotesque names on the tag. The corks were sealed after season 2, when a contestant drank a whole flask of oil before the crew could react. Every weapon submitted to the contestant's choice was fake. The players who would choose a weapon were sometimes motivated by a desire for revenge or by a feeling of deception. When there was a weapon on the table, it was systematically chosen. Worried by the message it would deliver, the production eventually decided to considerably reduce the presents until they were finally completely dismissed despite Jay's sharp disapproval. Maybe Jay's like a showrunner? Symbol. Oh! Okay, symbol is just... we don't know about the symbol. Bone. All the contestants who would select the bone during the choice trial seemed to be motivated by a need for rebirth or for a sort of psychological reinvention. Choosing the bone was about accepting your own ending in order to live again. Yeah, jeez! Each contestant selecting this object would often display signs of excitement and a great physical condition, along with the disconcerting ease to move around in spite of the helmet. Yo, that was alive. Kinda looked like that. Like the bone got flesh in the last pick. Misk. Among all the objects offered to the contestants, some of them did not belong to any particular category. A jug in the shape of a buffalo horn, a spellbook, a figurine, an hourglass, a dish towel, a bar soap, a vase, a bell. Okay, that's all we need to know about the objects, I guess. Experiments. Alright, let me take a drink and we can move on to this. Excited. Helmet. Oh! Can't access the helmet. Remote viewing. After Jay went missing, it appeared from the different documents which were found that he was particularly interested in experiments related to remote viewing. Jay was captivated by the CIA's research on this matter, and he had consulted the entirety of the research conducted by Russell Targ and Harold Puthoff at Stanford University. In his notes, Jay mentioned the mysterious Oracle project, and we believe it could be related to Protocol 12. During the last 3 seasons of Maze Masters, the helmet was probably equipped with a device allowing a kind of remote viewing, but no proof of results related to that research has ever been found. What is happening here? That looks like a bed, but like someone's... Oh! That's the chest, that's the hair, that's the arms. Someone's lying in bed, like completely covered in sheets. Yo, whoa, 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 what was that? There was like a picture of Stickman in a house, and then something else. Let me go back. I'm gonna take a picture of the Stickman. Gonna plop it in paint real quick. So this is fun, look. Trapped. Opening a door. Entryway with sliding doors. Roof entry. And then just horrible text. And there was also a picture of someone. Hallucinogens. Oh, I can't access this either. Brain camera. His cursed CD is shit. All the interesting stuff has been blocked off. Okay, more. Third eye pictures. The information given in this section is to a certain extent speculative. It discusses the doings of a certain J and the different groups we supervised. The Self-Burrow, the Dream Clinic, and at the time of the events, third eye pictures. Maybe you have to figure out how to access blocked stuff. I wonder if this game has that, or if they're just like actually can't be accessed. Jay's scandalous personality and his different aliases, not to mention the eccentric gossips about him, have all blurred entire parts of his biography. According to certain elements from our investigation, this individual known as James Jeremy Jacob Jasper came from Wales, and he could be around some years old today. If this person was indeed identified by several witnesses who spent time with him, there is no trace of Jay or his aliases in the British Administrative Archives. 5 years after the events, a certain number of former members have accepted to speak out, enlightening us concerning a few elements about their experiences. Did Jay disappear into the fucking maze dimension? Origins and perceptions. The Self-Burrow. We could find no trace of Jay, who was known as Jacob at the time, before he arrived to Cambridge University to study psychology. He attended the course delivered by Devon Kay, who quickly became his mentor. As a specialist of altered stages of consciousness, he taught Jay the fundamentals of parapsychology. We ignore the true extent of their collaboration, but it became more than an academic one. Jay would spend all this time in his teacher's lab, and he had to retake a year on account of his many absences. 4 years later, Devon Kay was diagnosed with a rare disease and left the academic world. Jay was described by his classmates as one of the best in their year group, but also as the strangest one. Oh! For instance, he had no doubt about the scientific validity of extrasensual perception and the models of the practical application. He was often described as an unfriendly man, and yet a little group of students would always spend time with him. After their bachelor's degree, they created together a student society called the Self-Barrow. Due to the nature of their experiments, which the university has never wanted to reveal, the young members of the Barrow were sent down right before their PhD viva. The members of the Barrow moved to Birmingham, and there was no sign of them for a while. The Dream Clinic. Ever dreamed this man? We were finally able to track them down 3 years after the Cambridge incident. At the time, Jacob was called Jasper. They had settled in a medical center in Birmingham suburbs. Internally, they called it the Dream Clinic, and they used the building both as a living and a working place. In this clinic, they conducted several experiments related to REM sleep and the psychic states of inconsistent consciousness. The treatments were free, and the candidates to the experiments were paid. I cannot explain how the group had managed to find such an important source of funding at the time. For 5 years, Jasper and his team carried on their research without anyone noticing. Apparently, something happened in 1981, since the group split up that year and Jasper disappeared again. Thanks to the testimony given by Terence B., we were able to trace the nature of the research conducted by Jasper, but also the reasons behind the dissensions of the group. During the first 2 years, the team made a major breakthrough decisive for the forthcoming events. What the hell? They argued they had identified a dream dimension containing spatio-persistent places and zones which could be visited. It's the fucking maze! It's the castle! The starting point of their discovery was the case of Norma T., a young woman suffering from night terror since childhood. Thanks to an ultrasound therapy treatment paired with hypnotic suggestions, Jasper managed to help the patient. But Norma became subject to recurring oniric visions which lasted several weeks. Jasper used the same treatment on other volunteers in the clinic, and the results exceeded their expectations. They experienced the same visions, and they became systematic despite the complete isolation of the patients. The helmet was a gateway to the dream dimension. At first the images were peaceful. A little bridge leading to a calm sea. Majestic tree bathed in light. And as they walked further into the dreamlands, their visions became more symbolical, even mystical. The candidates mentioned visions showing huge eyes staring at them and a face of cyclopean size. All the candidates explained that after a little while, they would see a sort of tunnel or an arch shaped by trees, and at the end of this strange corridor a door or a gateway would appear. As they got closer to this gate, the candidates would show signs of tachycardia. Some of them would also be subject to vomiting. We suppose this is the moment when the group started to split. Jasper and 2 of his most faithful followers really wanted to see what was behind the door. Oh my god! The other members expressed a certain unease concerning the uncontrolled protocol and possible effects of the candidates who had not given their full consent. Despite these sessions, one last experiment was conducted on 10 or so candidates who were given an anti-nausea medicine. All the subjects said that after stepping through the door, they experienced a stream of traumatizing or nightmarish images. It could have been a case of phobic hallucinations from traumatic memories or about death. The dreamers mentioned a huge house lost in the middle of an empty and sinister heath. Once they had stepped into the house, the candidates could see stairs and a checked patterned floor. The house seemed empty, but they all mentioned a heavy feeling in the chest and a metallic taste in the mouth. Among the 3 candidates who climbed up the stairs, 2 of them mentioned their meeting with a young girl standing among wooden flotsams. When she spoke, no words came out of her mouth, only a strange sound of wood cracking and breaking. The last witness mentioned a meeting with a spectral entity carrying a gladiator sword, and he explained that he woke up the moment he tried to get closer. Evidently, the candidates were deeply troubled by this experience. The peaceful visions had given way to unclear but terrifying scenes. Some of them left the clinic in the middle of the night without even taking their belongings. The dissident part of the group threatened to call the police. An argument broke out and some of the members came to blows. Jasper ran away at dawn with his partner and 2 other adepts. They took with them a few files, some materials, and the remaining cash. This is so fucking cool. I like how this is the last bit, so it's like all building up to this. This game is presented so well. The Plague Years. No, Prague. Prague? How do you pronounce that? It's the country. We only know a few things about this period, but several comparable elements confirm that Jay and his acolytes went into hiding somewhere in Prague. Okay, Prague. They became extremely discreet, and it would seem that they were invited by an acquaintance on site. We found no trace of rent or bills under their names, but after the fire at Network 7 Studios, we did find a few pictures in Jay's office. We found no trace of... Oh. There's like coffins in the woods. They apparently lived in reclusion, however, a great number of parcels was delivered to the address of their living place. The inquiry established that they contained books. The number of volumes is likely to have represented Jay's important esoteric collection found in the studio. See archived books. 2 years ago, an independent journalist discovered a book written by the couple during their Prague years, but published in the United States. Entitled Dreams. Transform your life through the power of your... Oh my god, my throat! To the power of your dreams. It introduced different techniques related to dream control. Here are the names of a few chapters. Painting the imaginary tree. Taking a mental self-portrait. The third eye. Identifying your personal archetypes. Building a house of dreams. Sketching dreams. Digging into the unconscious. Learning to fly on the dream highway. Posing a visual question. Building a dream temple. Setting your dream self free. I fucking love this. I love that they like cracked the boundaries of the dream dimension and real dimension, and I imagine during their Prague years they kept, I don't know, just living in the dream or something. And maybe that's where Jay disappeared in the end completely. Went into the dream dimension for good. Okay, TV production. Network 7. As soon as he came back to the United Kingdom, Jay put a lot of money in different kids' TV programs on cable channels. Here are a few noteworthy examples. The Crankies electronic comic. Galloping Galaxies. Ghost Train. The computer program. Alphabet Zoo. The Trapdoor. Wait, the Trapdoor? Like the stop motion show that's real? Terror Towers. I've been meaning to watch that. Alias the Jester. Jester mentioned! I was wondering if there's like a clue. But I don't think so. Movies. Between 1990 and 95, Jay funded through his affiliated company called Third Eye Movies 8 feature films thanks to the benefits collected with Maze Masters. Most of them were immediately released on VHS and they can no longer be found. Although all of them are horror movies, we can notice in the course of the years a shift toward an increasingly gory and deviant content, a surprising choice for a production studio specialized in kids' shows. You can click on the tape to see some of the photographs from each movie. Prison Kill, Brain Feast, Meatballs, The Meat Man. Oh, there's more. These must be taken from real films. I wonder if anyone recognizes any of them. Feel free to say. I kind of like this idea of using existing media and like making it into something else in your thing. Like that's really cool. Like, you know what I mean. Well, get ready for possible scary and trigger warning pictures from scary movies. Prison Kill. What was the horror game show I played? Bad Quiz Horror? Maybe, yeah, Pep is right. Evil Eye. Did he channel his nightmares into movies? You fucking love this project? Hello, welcome. Yeah, we're going through this. This is my first time. Not really a game, but a really cool experience. Yeah, I know, right? My voice is tired from reading, but this is worth it. Head off. Dead planet. Oh no. It's the same pic again. It's the same pics. Brain Feast. Ugh. Brain Feast. Oh, who is this guy? Oh. Eat the brain. Meatballs. That's awesome! Oh, look at this guy. Whoa. Death Trap. I want to know what real life movies these pictures are from and watch them. Dark Hole. That's cool. I want to see Dark Hole. The Meat Man. Whoa. Bro, it's just meat. You love how dopey old movies look creepier as stills. I know. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That was awesome. Okay, controversies. Oh, we can't access that. Oh well, we still got more. Theories, archives, Network 7, missing footage, bonus, and back. Alright. Holy, there's a lot. This is gonna take the entire rest of the stream. Multiverse. Oh. These can't be accessed. Tulpa theory. Oh! This one was talked about earlier. Some theories argue that the contestants might have created, without knowing, some sort of illusory tulpas. Tulpas are entities or realities materializing themselves through one's willpower only. 2 long pages from one of Jay's notebooks enthusiastically analyze Alexandra David Neal's writings dating from her Tibetan period, telling about the tulpa she had created and destroyed while she was in Tibet. Created and destroyed. Cult theory. The theory according to which Jay behaved like a guru with the people around him is unfortunately quite solid. From the self-borrowed to third eye pictures, he never stopped pursuing parascientific goals colored with a new age nuance. Gotta ethically unmake your tulpas, or else. Almost all his adepts refuse to talk to us. Most of them seem to be fearing for their life. It can be noted that today Jay is still somewhere outside, and it could explain their reluctance to speak out. Among all this research undertaken by Jay, none of them stray from this burning need to seek a door beyond the frontiers of the mind, and to stretch the limits of perception. Oh! There's a scary hand, and someone walking in like a hallway. Cover-up theory, mind control, shadow people. Aside from the events from the TV show, Network 7's premises gained a certain reputation in the British paranormal small circles. Several members of the production crews mentioned strange apparitions on some of the photographs taken during the shootings. FBI! 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 Although the official investigation ignored this aspect, several theories pointed out the possibility that those apparitions could be connected to the different dimensions which had been explored. The most persistent ones argue that those manifestations could have been caused by a communicating vessels phenomenon. If a contestant entered the dream dimension, one of the shadow people would appear in our reality. Aside from those strange pictures, which would not be asserted as authentic, no other element can support this theory. However, the fact that those entities appear during occurrences of sleep paralysis remains disturbing, given the similarities connecting them to Jay's research. Oh, I like that! I like tying this to, like, real-life sleep paralysis hallucinations people have. That's awesome. Dream world. Nope. And indigo children. Nope, whatever that is. Alright, archives. Photographs. Well, these are not the photographs that we see. These are like meatified and distorted. Have I never heard of that? Heard of what? You mean, Oh, indigo children was a hoax online where some kids were born with indigo eyes that quickly became a different color. I haven't heard of that, no. That's cool. I heard of a different hoax though. The Tumblr hoax where werewolves or like vampires would have like purple eyes. Or whatever. It even had its like own name. But no, I haven't heard of indigo children. The meat pictures. I'm just gonna go through them just in case something happens. The books listed below were all found by the firemen in Jay's office. They are part of the rare documents which survived the fire at the studio. The pseudoscientific content of most of these books questions the deontological soundness of those experiments. You can see the covers of the books along with the potential notes written in their pages by clicking on each book cover. Spirit releasement theory. Regression therapy, present life recall, birth regression, past lives therapy, recovery of soul-minded fragmentation, spirit releasement therapy, spirit possession syndrome, the Sphinx and the Rainbow, Sphinx and the Rainbow of time as a river, the forecasting brain, the puzzle of the recognition, Puthoff and Targ, labyrinth of synchronicity, the problem of information transformation, contact between worlds, the end of the rainbow. I'm not gonna read all of the book notes, just gonna like look at the books. Master Guide to Psychism. Participation is the key to psychic demonstration. Human auras, life, death, and consciousness. Out-of-body experiences, a light beyond the half-open door. A strangely terrestrial paradise. The ultimate destination. Oh my god, I'm burping. You bet these are real books? Yeah, same. Death and consciousness. Hiccuping. Why did I say burping? That was a hiccup. Let me blow my nose. A conception of surviving in another world. Body glitch. The visions of dying. L'homme paranormal. Materialization et demonstration. Passage à travers la matière. Forbidden knowledge. Hidden forces. Things unseen. Faith and fantasy. Exploring the paranormal. To be or not to be human. Accident transference experience. Paranormal phenomena and the near-death experience. When men and women lose the sense of mystery, life will prove to be a grey and dreary business, only with difficulty to be endured. That's a good quote. The mystery of ESP. ESP and energy. What the hell is this picture portraying? The search for psychic power. Mass broadcasting experiment. Hard guessing experiments. Analyzing the experimental conditions. Exploring inner and outer space. To the higher power who guides us all from our inner and outer space, and to all of us who are growing in awareness of our immortality and our multidimensional being. Quest for reality, inner outer space connection. Darkness walks, the shadow people among us. The mystery of shadow people, negative shadows, the Hat Man, getting rid of shadows. Shadow people and the Hat Man, I find them like cool. I don't like, you know, believe in supernatural shit, but I still find the Hat Man and shadow people cool because they have existed as a concept for so long. I'm not saying that means anything, I just think it's cool that it is something that has persisted throughout humanity's history. The Hat Man from LSD PS1 is real, yeah. He visited me yesterday. We played Smash Bros. They put Hobie in the device. ESP. This is all real. Remote viewing, strange than you can imagine. Exploring the fourth dimension. If I'm in here, who's that out there? If I'm in here and you're out there and watch me swoosh right in. Wait, do I still have that? Like an OG.
Watch me swoosh right in.
The sacred and the psychic. Demonic possession, the collective unconsciousness, life beyond, the super ESP theory. Explained, unexplained. Alder state, dream ESP, and the Gansfeld mind forces. In search of the light. Young children as psychic subjects. Hopes for the Garnfeld. I don't know. Anomalous experiences. The role of altered states of consciousness in extrasensory experiences. Will we ever know whether extrasensory perception exists? Anomalous experiences during deep hypnosis. Apparitions of black dogs. Observing the impossible, eyewitness testimony for dark rooms, the says. That was cool. Drawings. Drawings realized by the contestants after each show. The kids' drawing effects seem to last more or less 24 hours. Reproduction of the notes in French that Jay left on the back of the drawings. Duncan 15. Opposition Vert Rogue. Imagine before AI, you were reading a book and one of the chapters was just, I don't know, followed by 25 pages of incomprehensible babble, then it just went back to normal. Yeah, back then it meant something. Scooby-Doo 100, Night of 100 Frights. Yeah, I've been meaning to check those out. Space Monster. Mountain. I can't read French, so I'm just gonna look at this. No, we just let the robots hallucinate for us. Leviathan. Purple Castle. That's the helmet. Oh, that's the Jester! The Jester is significant. Oh. This one doesn't load at all. Interesting. Jester sighting! Alright, there's still more archives. Oh wait, no. Network 7. Oh. Slubigs? What does that say? Filming crew. History. Oh, it's a PC on fire. Or... No, there's like pictures of flames. The place is... They burnt the studio down. Like, maybe maybe it was arson. Yeah, the studio burned down. So the history... Symbolically, when you click the history thing, it just shows pictures of fire. That's like someone. Authors. Creative teams. Programs. Whoa. Missing footage. What the hell? Actually missing footage. Bonus. David Rowe art, video games, board game, merchandising, fan art credits. This has to be the real guy, the actual artist on the show, and they credit like their website, etc. That's really cool. The meat dimension, it was real. Maze Masters 1987. You wish you were alive in the 80s and could just mat the paintings for a living. This is cool. They should make a modern game with this concept where you playing the game, you aren't like controlling the player, but you're giving them instructions. You've seen a handful of indie games with that concept. That's cool. Gods of the Labyrinth. It's the door. I can click it open. Oh shit! I'm in hell, help me, it says on the wall. Wait! We found the CD from within. Wait, what does this mean? Can I? I'm wondering if something has become like unlocked. Is any locked stuff now unlocked? What did we have? Experiments. I don't think so, at least nothing here. Let's go back to more. Bonus. Yeah, that was the Gods of the Labyrinth. Let's have a look at this rest. This picture with the statue that came alive is like distorted. They talked about it. Maybe it means something. Merchandising. Maze Masters. Fortress of Assassins, based on the thrilling TV series. Forbidden Gate. Lord Fear's domain. Can you beat the challenge? The Labyrinth of Fear. Bad dreams. The maze monster. The mad pope. What the fuck? These are getting like crazy. The cruel god. Devouring his son, whoever that was called. The brain eaters. The demon flute. These are getting crazy. The death machine. The talking head. The road of death. Jester-like creature. The dark Sabbath. The spider room. The death master. The lake of despair. The dark assassin. The dreaming skull. Night of the demons. Visions of madness. Yeah, the artist credits are real. The evil monk. The devil's fish. Holidays in hell. Paintings on blood. The everlasting night. The snow kingdom. The jester. The jester's room. Something. The jester something. The jester's conspiracy. The jester is watching. The devil drink. The red prophecy. The jester enigma. Game over. Whoa. Bro became fixated on Jester and just kept publishing books like this? Yeah, right. Game over. Oh, he's getting like more cursed the more I click. That's the last one. That was so cool! Let's get the hell out of here. Fun art. Oh, it's like crusted. Credits. Text and research. Alan Q. Smithy for -1 Publishing. Original soundtrack Cloud Factory. CD-ROM concept Vision 2000. Translation Litzen. We would like to thank all the former employees at Network 7 and Third Eye Pictures who have accepted to testify. Personal acknowledgements and everybody at -1. -1 Publishing 99. To contact us, please click here. Does that actually like... Okay, what did we find? Oh! Do any of these work? Or do they all like... We gotta test now, we got this deep. Oh! We found a maze. That was the first door. But which one do we pick next? There is a puzzle to unlock the final round of content. I fucking figured that would be the case. But will I be able to solve it? So it's the... Yeah, okay, so it's the eyeballs first. The eyeballs is first. What next? I mean, I can always brute force it, but I'm not sure if that's gonna be enjoyable. Eye looking at red ball. Sega Saturn. I think I have to do something here with the numbers in the top left, because maybe that's related to the Jester? Okay, none of these work. I'm pretty sure I clicked all of them. No, wait! It was the last one! Fuck. Well, better do it in order. Those were both images we've seen in the game so far, if that helps. Oh, you're right! That's a good point. It was the kid drawing! I remembered that one! Fuck! You cracked it! But now we should just remember all the pictures. I haven't been paying attention to all of them. If anyone recognizes anything, give me a holler. It's the secret pic! Down here! That we had on Paint! Oh fuck, it's getting crazier. This was in the movie. This was in one of the movies when they like showed the mouth of the creature. Fuck, no it... Oh, okay. Yeah, the kid drawing. I feel like these are also relating to something. That was in the menu. Blood Shower was from the movie still too. This was also in the menu of the game. There's the Jester face. Okay, no, it wasn't the Jester. Where is there like a blood shower picture here? Oh wait, I wasn't at the final page. The hole! Okay, it's none of the movie pictures. The hole was also from a movie, but that doesn't count. So it has to be a non-movie picture, because the hole, the mouth... That's the helmet. Nah. Maybe it's not pictures we've seen. Maybe there's some other logic here, because those have been pictures we have seen. Maybe I should be paying attention to, like, other secret pictures. The orange one next to the mouth was one of the corrupted from earlier. The gray screens are related to pixel hunts you can do on the other screens. Pixel hunts you can do on the other screens? What does that mean? Like, the dark gray spot overlaps with something on another screen, and the red dot is clickable. Oh, so it like gives you a clue for the next one. Try the eye. So it's like teeth and the bottom left of it. No. Hashtag and to the right. No, I don't get it. Which eye do you mean? This one? You think the hashtag is a window on another screen in the game? Oh, like elsewhere in the game. And if I like position my mouse like to the position of the red dot from a window. I could click that. Ah, yes, I thought you meant like this puzzle. Fuck, I feel like this game has a lot more to offer than what we're gonna be able to find here. But that's fine. After this stream, go watch Sagan Hawk's video. I know I will, because I feel like I'm missing a lot of secrets and lore. Yeah, I have no idea which picture to click here. I would like to get through this grid puzzle, though. The Owl was one of the kid shows. Maybe it has to be one of the pictures if it's like related to the dream stuff. So none of the movies or anything like that. It has to specifically be one of like the dream things. That's another drawing. Okay, while we think, let me just go through them in order. I'm gonna skip the ones I already clicked. That one I clicked, not the meat eye. You zoned out, what the heck is this? We're trying to solve the final puzzle of the game. But I don't know, so I'm just trying to brute force it and see if I can get through. Did I click the owl already? No, I don't remember if I did. I have the solution if you'd like it. Oh, yes, please. Like, give me the picture I gotta click next. I don't need to know the... I don't need to understand why. I'll understand later when I watch the video. Did I click the blood rooms? No, I don't fucking remember anymore. Thought I was being so clever there. First, row 3, column 3. Okay, thank you. Second, row 2, column 2. Third one, row 3, yeah, that's the one we got. 4, row 5, column 2. Okay, so this is the fifth one. This was the last one, okay. Row 6, I would have found it eventually. Column 1. The 3? Oh, we did it. I guess the reward was the pixel hunt thing, I guess. Yeah, I don't even remember anywhere where there would be like a window or something like that. Well, what a fucking cool thing. I have a basic understanding of what went down here, but I feel like I can still understand more, especially with the secrets. But for that, I think I'm gonna watch Sagan Hawk's video. What does the help button do? Nothing. You can't press it. Fuck. What is this game? It's called Frontiers of the Mind. It's on itch.io. Well. I'll try going to more Third-eye pictures, origins, Prague years, page 14, then press bottom left corner, the blue square text box. Okay, we're going back in. I'll do that. Then I'm gonna call it a day because I'm already over time. More third-eye pictures. Origins. Prague years. But thank you for this though. This helps me like find some of the more interesting stuff without actually doing pixel hunting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Press the bottom left corner of the blue square text box. Oh my god, yeah! I can click different screens here. Gods of the Labyrinth. Holy shit! It's the Gods of the Labyrinth, the game from the thing that didn't work. Oh. Bro. It looks like this game has much more to offer than we could have guessed. So, I'm going to call it a day here. But I highly recommend you check out Sagan Hawk's video about this if you're interested in more. I know I am, so I will. Also, holy shit, this ended up taking like all of the stream. So I'm gonna save the rest of the horror games for later. And maybe even for Halloween. So that's gonna be fun. God, you could at least see one of the pixel hunt sequences at least. Yeah, that was fucking crazy. I love that. I love that like investigative horror deal. Can't wait for those other desktop explorers in the future. But yeah, that was cool.